Man, if anyone's listening to this show tonight, we should have given you the warning that this is an evening podcast, and the evening ones are always crazy. So I'm just going to have to put up with it.
Sex, seniority, and salary in that order.
Rock on. You're on 121.5, the emergency frequency.
It's a show by professional pilots for professional pilots.
I looked back at them and I said, I don't think we're at the right airport. And they go, I don't think we are either.
Each episode, we bring you fascinating conversations with industry experts.
I think I should be a go-to on how to deal with 63, 64-year-old men.
You're going to chase it like a dog chasing a school bus.
But we're not just about the serious stuff. We're here to have fun.
Currently on an overnight in Orlando, and this is by far hell. This is the worst place on earth.
It's a whole thing.
The 21.5 Professional Pilots Podcast is your destination for everything aviation, whether you're cruising in the flight levels or just starting your journey. It is the Frequency Pilots Tune in and Vibe 21.5, where the pros come alive. Hello, Max.
Hello, Dylan.
I wish in the pre-show conversation you hadn't disclosed what hotel you were staying at, because I would have loved to guess. You said a DoubleTree? I would not have guessed that.
No, it was just it kind of slapped a DoubleTree sticker on it, if you will.
Did you resist the cookie?
I did. Yes, I do not eat. I gave up the cookies. No cookies anymore. Those things are like 400 calories, dude. This is aggressive.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. And do you give them to another crew member? Or?
No, so this hotel is actually kind of cool. They pick you up and they have like all your keys already in the sign-in sheet in the van, and they drop you off on this building where all the airline scum stay. And they have a bag that's like insulated with all the cookies in it if you want it. So,
Wow.
Let's just say some people take more than one.
So you're doing your job to balance it out.
Yeah, right. I forego the cookie. Did not forego the fisherman's stew as they ate on the harbor where they catch all the fish, though, across the street. That was always a real treat here in San Diego. Mitch's Seafood, if you're ever in San Diego.
Wow. Shout out.
Very divine.
Well, here it is. It's a show for pilots. If you didn't,
That's
you
it.
haven't
What
already figured that out.
Talking about hotels and food. What else you want?
DoubleTree, cookies, and
next thing we'll talk
this
about
is the pros.
How to save money and
exactly.
Actually, the guy I'm flying with told me a great story about pilots saving money. You remember our friend that used to live? Remember the whole thing like SFO? There's like no crash pads, or they're like super expensive. So what did everybody do? They bought some clapped out boat that doesn't run, and they'd stick it in a slip, and that was like the marina is like a frat house, right? And all these guys live in these just musty old boats that don't even run.
We're in a group text with our buddy who I think still owns one right now. We're texting.
Yeah, we just right now, and so they all just like grill and drink beers and whatever.
Yeah,
and he was telling me about this dude that bought. It was like a fishing trawler, like a big boat, right? And they had run it aground and like tore out one of the outdrives. It was all I guess it was a twin, so it needed both outdrives. I don't know. And so he finally located some in Memphis, and so he's like, I got a great deal on these outdrives. I just don't. How am I going to ship them? I'm not paying for that. And so it couldn't have been the whole outdrive. Maybe it was just like the lower, I don't know, part of it. But he said he figured out that if you jump seat on FedEx, you could bring whatever on board as long as you could carry it. So he went to the military surplus store and bought 2 of the biggest duffel bags he could find.
No way.
Jump seated to Memphis and loaded up these parts of a lower unit for this big fishing trawler and put them in these huge duffel bags and like hauled them up the thing. And the pilots were like, yeah, that's awesome.
And for those of you who have not jump seated on a cargo carrier, carrying a jet bridge from the terminal, you're walking up a scaffolding of stairs too. Yeah, so it makes it even more impressive.
So he was telling me about that. That's pretty funny.
That's incredible.
And then, dude,
the pilot you're flying with right now.
Yeah, and then
that's amazing.
No, he didn't do that. He's a guy he knows or whatever. And then another dude who's like the single, Alaska dude, like has this like boat. And he ended up moving it like inland up the river, like from Oakland or whatever. and found some marina, and he's like just lives there on some like floating houseboat, you know, and making captain money, and like, you know, has his slip rental, I guess, a month and like nothing else. And so he sent him a text the other day. It says, "My James Bond transformation is finally complete." And he's like, "What is this?" And he bought one of those semi-rigid inflatable boats, you know, with the fiberglass hull, but it has with like twin Mercury, like huge outboards.
A rib.
And the 3-hour drive, now he can make it to SFO in an hour and a half. Just
raging on the boat.
I guess. I don't know, dude. People are up to some stuff up in San Francisco.
You know, it's funny because we talked about that in an episode. We're like, what dudes fly their own airplanes, or dudettes fly their own airplanes to commute in? That's a percentage. It's a small percentage, but those that commute by boat has to be even.
Boating is just a whole nother.
Incredible.
There's got to be some people like, what are those, the San Juan Islands that like go to
there's
Seattle?
There's probably a few. Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you live on like Vashon Island or something, you're going to take the ferry in.
Yeah, you're taking the ferry.
Bainbridge.
Who knows, dude?
Wow.
Pilots are some weird
amazing
stuff.
Just
all kinds of weird stuff.
What do you do if you've got like an early show? You boating in and then
you put the nods on, dude. You get the helmet you bought, and you drop the nods and you send it like the SEALs would.
Wow.
Any other questions?
No, I'm sure I'll come up with some, but I don't know. You just secure your suitcase up in the front, maybe strap it in.
That's what he said. He said he's got like maybe we need to interview this guy.
Well, it's funny too, because think about it. If you saw a guy in a pilot uniform driving the boat, you'd be like, "Oh, it's a boat guy. It's a boat captain." It's got to be kind of funny to see a guy in a 2-person rib driving around in a full uniform.
It's like a center pedal. No, this is like a real yeah.
Oh, this is like a big one.
I think it's.
He looks like a regular ship captain. Just
you'd have to be wearing like some sort of coveralls, like that zip up, so when you get there, you zip, and then you throw on your clip-on tie and.
It's the next evolution of the commuter vest. It's a commuter life vest.
How do we even get here? What happened?
The commuter life vest. Boom. Well, we're just going unhinged today. Today was kind of a mishmash. We're a day late on the show because of Mother's Day. We were busy, and one of us had a bunch of margaritas by the pool. Did you actually get in your pool? Because I got in mine yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little crisp still. Yeah, it's good. Some of the perks of Phoenix. So our AI unfortunately went off the rails. So the show outline I had to create manually, but even more fun, and I think you'll enjoy this. For folks that have listened to the end of our shows, we do like this little AI wrap that kind of summarizes the show. It's kind of just for fun. So we did one, and the AI just completely lost its mind creating the song. And I don't know if I played this for you, but it came up with this line, with this lyric about waking up wrecked in a Hilton somewhere. Do you remember this?
No.
And it just you got to listen to this. And it just went nuts and just sang the same song, the same lyric over and over. Here we go.
Who got wrecked at a Hilton? I don't stay in Hilton. You're a Hilton guy. Do you have something to tell everybody?
Every once in a while, I would get
a big night.
No, we talked about the show, and it was in episode 202. Here's the Hilton rap song. Just went nuts.
Gone wrong.
Yeah, you wake up wrecked in a Hilton somewhere. Wake up wrecked. Yeah. You wake up wrecked in a Hilton somewhere. Yeah. Wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere. Wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere. Yeah.
This goes on for 3.5 minutes.
Just like this?
Yeah, wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere. Yeah, wake up wrecked. Wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere. Yeah.
Hey, I glitch.
Yeah, wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere. Yeah, wake up wrecked. Wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere. Yeah, wake up wrecked in the Hilton somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Wake up wrecked in the Hilton.
Isn't that hilarious? Oh my gosh, I couldn't
you just
believe
listen to that and be like, what?
I kind of listened to it a couple times and like, yeah, this is good. It's a good flow here. Oh, brother.
A little big desired, but
yeah. Let's listen. It's all good. The Hilton goes, what happened to you? Yeah, what happened to you?
Yeah, what it is? kind of bar special was going on at the Hilton? What's next on the
You know,
docket?
vamp. Just go with.
I got to go in for you. Should I
Yeah.
tell everyone about the pro level 24-hour Vegas trip?
Oh, that was pro. Go ahead. This is
So-
the 40 plus Vegas experience.
Yeah, we had a one-nighter, just 20. It was like we left at 10 a.m. and we were departing the next day at 10 a.m. So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you're in Vegas, right? You can't be going out late and getting too wild when you got a 10 a.m.
Right.
departure the next day, right? So, the whole thing was, I had this whole weekend planned, very romantic weekend with my wife to celebrate our anniversary, like a month after our actual anniversary, because that was the first weekend we had. And of course, you know how to guarantee you're going to fly a trip is to plan something, important.
My favorite
and
is
all of
to
a sudden-
purchase a concert ticket.
Yeah. Or a non-refundable, resort in Sedona. That worked. That was great too.
Oh, I didn't realiage that. Which one
Yeah.
was it?
In
Ooh.
season. The
Ooh.
Wild Resort with an E.
Oh.
It looked quite nice. I hope somebody enjoyed my room.
Somebody enjoyed it.
But so anyway, so we go to, and so I'm like, yeah, so I bring my wife with, and I'm like, what are we going to do? We get there at 10 a.m. and we kind of have to go to bed early, right? And not,
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let's if we land right at 10 and we go to the hotel and just change if they don't have a room ready or whatever, and then have lunch, we'll be right in time for the pool, the day club pool party at MGM. So we go to the Palm Beach Club to see Kygo at the pool and and had a great time. And then we went right from there and got cleaned up and had dinner, went to the Absinthe show at Caesars at 7:00, the early show, and was safely in bed by 10:30.
That's magical.
I know, it really was. And my wife, she's not really one to stay up super late anyway, so it was just perfect.
Yeah.
She was like, "This is the best
You mean
Vegas
our
trip I've
wife?
ever been on."
You know, the woman that I also married.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a new one.
That's perfect. I like it. I haven't quite mastered that day pool party. I haven't quite gotten that level.
On the
Last
road,
time I was there,
day pool. The good news is you don't really drink too much at the day pool because how much does 2 Coronas and a vodka or a tequila soda?
Tequila
What does that
soda.
cost?
That's got to be 65.
Exactly, $65 US. Good for you.
Wow.
You just have your finger on the pulse of the Las Vegas
I'm
drink
locked
pricing.
in.
That's good for you.
It's because I used to fly so many DJs.
That's right. Tell everyone about you when you used to fly at unnamed.
So
DJ.
many DJs. It was crazy.
What about the juice? Wasn't that the juice that you had to make? This
Calvin Harris had to do the juice for him. It was a charter.
Calvin Harris juice.
He was cool dude.
I remember there was cayenne pepper in this juice.
Mm-hmm. I still have the recipe somewhere. I posted it. It was one of our first podcast episodes. I talked about this.
Really?
They're like, no, there's going to be a catering order, and it's a little complicated. The caterer's going to drop off all the ingredients, but you're going to need to. There's going to be a juicer in the FBO, and you're going to need to make the juice. And we had a flight attendant, but there was boxes of catering. So I'm like, listen. This is at the time I was a big juicing guy anyways, so it's like, I'll take care of the juice.
I'll handle the juice.
And you do the rest. And I was in there in my white like pilot uniform, trying to juicing beet juice. Yeah, I know. I needed one. Yeah, if you buy 500 gallons from Atlantic, you do get a free apron. So that's
free juicing.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't know that. So anyways, yeah, that was made that happen, and she enjoyed. Calvin enjoyed some juice. So,
all right, very spicy, mild, a little bit spicy.
It was delicious too. I will post the recipe again if I can still find it. It had like pineapple and cayenne pepper and beets, and I just can't even imagine what the caterer was charging them for all of those raw ingredients. It must have just been horrifying.
Like many things in business.
He enjoyed
education.
it. Yeah, exactly. What else is new? And then I also flew Steve Aoki a few times, the guy that throws the cakes
into
the audience.
Did he bring the cake on the plane, or was that
No, I
procured
was hoping
locally?
he was going to have the cake, but no, he didn't. But we did get to go on stage with him and sit behind the stage as he just launched cakes at people. It was pretty funny
I
to
love
watch.
that when he gets the big cake and just dumps it on some
And
chick's
they
head
just
that's
na-
on-
and they
It's
they
usually
love
like
it.
some girl that's on some guy's shoulders and like,
Yeah,
ah,
she's
just
holding
boom,
her
just hits
cake
with
me. Just
I know. I
unbelievable,
love that.
man. If anyone's listening to this show tonight, we should have given you the warning that this is an evening podcast, and the evening ones are always crazy. So I'm just gonna have to put up with it. Let's talk about flying for a little bit, Max.
Yeah,
I guess if you want.
All
So I recently did an Atlantic crossing, my first one in like 12 years.
yes,
Very exciting.
Tell
Challenger
us.
did amazing. We had to do a tech stop on the way out in Canada, in Gander, and then we were able to hop over into mainland Europe, all in just one stop. I was really impressed with how it did, and this was the first time I went with CPDLC, and so there was that kind of learning curve, and it was funny because right before we departed. For folks who don't know, we both fly out of the same hangar, and I think we were taking off at the same time, right? Yeah, because you taxied out right behind me, and so you came.
And we followed you all the way to like Michigan or something.
Yeah, you guys were right behind us. It was funny because your last words of advice when you came and chatted with us before, and you're like, "Listen, there's gonna be a time on this trip where you're just not gonna know what to do, and you're just gonna have to kind of go with it and just use your best judgment and figure."
Well, yeah. So there's always in business aviation, these international trips, there's always an element of what you're going to say is, we're just going to have to figure it out. Like, it's just you're not really going to know what you're going to do when you get there or whatever it is, but you just got to figure it out. And that's
we're just going to send it.
Like, so don't be alarmed. Just, you just got to roll with it and just figure it out.
Exactly.
It always works out.
Yeah. It always works out. Exactly. What, are they not going to let you land?
Yeah. Listen.
So
2 words, pawn.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No.
So
go ahead.
it was interesting. So we had just done international school the week before, so we were fairly prepped. But the data link CPDLC thing is still sort of, until you do it, you're kind of like, what? And so they now, as you remember, we actually did a podcast with, I think it was Advanced Aircrew Academy, and they came on and then told us there's no more oceanic clearance, right? So you remember talking about that. So at a Gander, you just get your clearance on the ground and then off you go. And then you switch over and you do CPDLC, but your clearance is just sort of to your oceanic extra point, at least mine was. And we had filed this flight plan, all the way into France, but didn't know. No one ever really told us we were cleared for that part of the route. So we coast in. All right, we made it across the ocean. And we're just like, I guess we'll just sort of continue on this route that no one has cleared us on, And then you start talking to Brest and, all these other people. And
who were super easy to understand.
Yeah, just super easy to understand.
They're the hardest ones I found.
Yeah, and it's like, this long day, and you're just like, they're checking in, I'm going to this fix. I guess that I'm going to this fix. I don't know, but it was just that first initial experience, and everything's just so new, and everyone's talking a different language, and you're just like, all right, well, I guess we'll just kind of keep going as filed here, and ended up working out.
And just see if someone says something. If not, you must be doing it right. That's kind of.
I guess we're just going to continue on, but yeah, CPDLC is quite nice going over. And ADSC and all of that, but definitely make sure you're on your.
Used ATN?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, cool.
No, I'm sorry, we did not. No, we did not use ATN once we were over there. Due to I had to get an did not have the authorization in time to use that, so it's okay.
So you were altitude limited then?
Over in Europe, no, because there's a waiver, so you could still get in your altitude. So
because otherwise, aren't you like in the high 20s or something? Is like technically,
I think it's like 25. Yeah,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, that is always that element of just figuring it out, dude. I remember when I flew one trip over like sub-Saharan Africa, long time ago, and that's like the loneliest flight. Like you're over land, but there's no lights, dude, and you're just like, and you can't get a hold of anybody. Like there's like on air to air. You can talk to like British Airways somewhere, but you're just like on HF and you just try and like check in once in a while. You used to, and then you finally get some guy that sounds like he's like, talking into a tin can, and he's like, and all he wants is your address, and so he knows where to send you the bill. And it takes about 20 minutes to get that effectively communicated. Yeah. And then you're just like, all right, well, I guess we'll just keep trying some frequency we find on the chart until we get there. Like I don't know. There was nobody to talk to if something bad happened, except for, some nice chap in a 777, hopefully.
Right.
From British Airways. Like other than that, it was just nobody. There's just nobody there. It was the creepiest thing.
That's bizarre. Yeah. And we touched on an international school. We were more focused on Europe, but they were kind of like had like contingency procedures for, over there, Africa, right? Like if you need to deviate from storms and whatever, or traffic, like you're just sort of on your own.
Yeah. And this was like a long time ago now. So who knows? Back then it was just kind of,
fortunately, everyone has TCAS in Africa, I'm sure. So you never have to worry about that. Right?
Yeah, not a lot of traffic. You'd be surprised.
Believe it or not.
But not a lot of airplanes around. It's weird. No way to get a lab service either. We had to do the signature trash bag lab service. You ever done that?
Yeah. I have never done it. I've heard the stories.
All right. You hold the trash bag and I'm going to pull the handle.
Not good. I have a few unpaid product shout-outs I would like to get to for this trip, though, if you'll allow me.
Please.
The first one is the neuromuscular skeletal device called the Firefly.
What is this thing you're talking about?
It is a thing that kind of stimulates blood flow in your legs. Because you were saying, you got to get some compression socks for that crossing.
No, just for flying for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. For sitting that long. Yep. Yeah. Your legs, I guess, don't know you're over the ocean. That's a good point.
You're not in crew rest like some of our friends.
Like you should be. Yeah, exactly.
Your jammies.
So those things were pretty interesting. Good way to get your blood flow while you're flying. So those were, I was impressed with that. And I'll have a link in the
What
show
is it?
notes.
Like it's a device that you're shocking
Yeah,
yourself
you can
with?
like strap onto your leg and it like sends a little
like a taser.
pulse. Yeah, sort of, basically. Yeah.
Do you get like
Tease yourself.
involuntary muscular contraction too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you zap your partner if he starts to doze off?
He's got his own.
Right in the ribs?
Woo! Yeah, basically, actually, it was just a cattle prod we used just to keep each other awake.
You just found these on eBay and they had like a weird sticker on it.
There was a TSO. Yeah, I thought it was
a little
TSO.
hair, and one you're trying to figure out
right
what that was from.
Yeah. You do the timer for the 10-minute G&E check, then you just, it's perfect. Speaking of the G&E, we use the 4Flight Active Navlog. Have you heard of this?
I've heard.
4Flight's solution for doing all
have your planning chart, your plan.
Oh, it does it all. Yeah, it was super cool. I highly recommend it. And it was cool because you can do all your checks and everything in your log is all electronic and saved and everything. And so that was great. And then lastly, Signum they're the CAA trip planner, the international trip planner that's partnered with CAA. They were incredible too. And what's super cool is they can tap into your 4Flight dispatch and make your flight plan right there. So then it's all cool. Just right in your phone, whatever they've planned, and you don't have to load it or do it. It's
no
really
printing
cool.
out the packet.
Nothing. No huge packets. You remember that? Just coming.
The master document? Yeah, with this freaking ream of paper you have and all your drip down.
I remember we would do it, and then the guy would like fax it all back to the company. The FBI. And the girl was like, here, fax this into ops.
I had that big envelope too. You'd like fill out all this stuff, and you'd save all this paperwork for your...
Let's put this somewhere safe.
Those were the days, kids.
That's right.
This iPad magic book.
That's right. No magic book.
Charts and pencils and rulers.
Yeah, successful trip. A lot of people helped us out. It was great. Really enjoyed it.
Good.
Send it. Yeah.
Makes you appreciate flying around in the U.S.
It sure does. Yeah.
So
to get back. There's nothing like hearing like, contact even Gander. When they tell you to contact Gander, it's still pretty nice. And you're like, oh, good. This person is going to speak a language that I can understand pretty clearly. Mm-hmm. So all good. All good. So that was my exciting story. Anything else, Max, before we get into the meat of the show?
No, other than that, I don't really have anything.
Okay. No more midnight camping. Okay.
No more trees falling on my tent or anything exciting
Oh.
like that.
I like it. All right, let's jump into the podcast reviews, Max. Of course, we love it when folks write reviews for the show. We love it so much, in fact, that we will happily send said reviewer a couple of our stickers if they just shoot us an email, info@215podcast.com with their mailing address. Stickers will be sent your direction. This one comes from CM_TX. He says, or she says, excellent show. This is a fantastic resource for any aspiring pilot, whether GA, airlines, or corporate. Dylan, Max, and their guests provide helpful advice from insiders who have done it all in aviation. Cannot recommend enough. Awesome. Thank you. A couple of good YouTube comments as well, Max, if you want to share those.
Yes, the one says, great rap summary of the video. AI is amazing.
Sometimes. That was before they heard the latest.
Sometimes it's a brain hemorrhage, but well, that was short. I'll read the next one too. This hit right before summer too. More people fly once school is out. Some of these A320s and 321s will be rebranded pretty fast. Watch JetBlue and Frontier start on mass hiring for summer demand.
Oh, that's in reference to the Spirit shutdown.
Yeah. Well, I will be keeping an eye on it every time when I come in and land to the east in Phoenix. Fly over Goodyear Airport and see how big the sea of yellow is.
I was in Vegas the other day, and there were still yellow airplanes on the ground there. I don't know. Have you seen any else?
I was in Vegas like right after it, and I didn't see any yellow airplanes. Where were they at? Like by 19?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the only place I couldn't see. I thought they would have stuck them on that cargo ramp as you're taxiing to 25, but I didn't see any of those anywhere.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, actually, now that I think about it, I haven't seen one. Except
for by the terminal, but on the east side of the 19s, yeah.
I must not have seen it. I landed on the one. Well, I don't know. I thought I landed on one left, but
I haven't been. I had the smoothest. For those of you that in business aviation, you probably get this. Well, you even in the airlines, you guys still get delays into Vegas still, right?
Oh yeah, it always flows.
I finally got like the perfect. Normally Vegas kills me because you got to wait 20 minutes to take off, especially from Scottsdale. And then they always land you on 26 left, which is a long taxi, especially if you're going to Atlantic. And then, so it's like 20 minutes on either side of the flight, and it's a 40-minute flight. So it's like double the time. It's just every time.
Versus just going to Henderson?
Versus just going to Henderson.
But that place is a mess. That's actually, I want to talk about that next.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh. So anyways, I just the other day had the perfect Vegas storm of like a release that when we got to the end of the runway, took off and got 19 right and landed and then just taxied right into the FBO. And that never happens anymore. So anyways, that's all. All right. Go ahead with your Henderson rant.
Yeah, dude. So Henderson is a mess nowadays. Like they are so short. I think it's a non-federal control tower, and they are so short on controllers. It's the same dude that's on, midday, tons of traffic, and he is clearly like way over task saturated. Like, and he's reading clearances. He clears somebody to land, and then he's like, reading clearances to why somebody's on short final and like trying to control the ground, and and then there's flow out of there because of the capacity of the terminal area in Las Vegas. So he's trying to get people times and get them to the runway, and who's taxiing where and I'm like, you're sitting there waiting for your time. So you're just sitting there monitoring this debauchery. And I'm like, this is really unsafe. I'm like, what do I do about this? I'm like, do we fill out an ASRS report? Like, what do you do? And so I just asked AI, I think I asked AI, and it sent me this link, and there's like this whole FAA reporting thing. Like for pilots, you can report like everything. It's like a form you fill out and tell them what's going on.
Leaving a Google review, can you leave stars?
Yeah, essentially. And so while we're sitting there waiting and watching this disaster unfold, I went on there and I'm like, this is honestly really dangerous. Like something bad is going to happen here. Like I feel like you can see the writing on the wall. So, so yeah, we filled, and then we some of the guys that local pilots we saw them down there and texting with them like, hey, fill out this report on this too. So I don't know. I put my information. We'll see if we hear anything from the FAA. But yeah, it's really bad though.
Okay, so yeah, Henderson hit and miss, but often, I mean, the price is right. Often,
Ain't that the truth?
North Vegas, been in there a few times. It's there's no good. There's just you got to pick your poison going into Vegas, I guess. Yeah, it is what it is.
North Vegas, very low key. It's a little short on the runways, but
a little short, a little tight. A lot of GA friends there, so just kind of gotta pick what you want to do.
They have like passengers though. If you ever go to North Vegas and you can taxi by the twin Cessna, that's like the
love machine.
Yeah, where you can join the Mile High Club in the back of it. They always love that. I think that's the funniest thing ever.
Oh yeah,
Love Flight or whatever it's called.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Only in Vegas. Last comment on YouTube. It says this is we talked about the furlough flute. We were confused about what to play since it wasn't really a furlough situation. And Ragamuffin says new audio clip could be Chapter 11 clarinet or the bankruptcy bassoon.
Can you have AI make a bankruptcy bassoon, please, as soon as possible?
Yeah, I'll get working on that right now, and we'll have that at the end of the episode here. Assuming it doesn't get stuck in the Hilton.
Wrecked in the Hilton.
That's right. Okay, well, I'm working on that, Max. Why don't you give us our ad read today from our friends at Advanced Aircrew Academy?
Of course, this episode is sponsored by Advanced Aircrew Academy. Professional flying is a game of small margins, time, weather, fatigue, maintenance, passenger pressure. None of it shows up in the POH the way it shows up on a real trip. And that's why we like Advanced Aircrew Academy. Their training is built around the way pilots actually operate in the real world. They focus on the stuff that separates legal from good. Threat and error management, practical CRM, workload management, and decision-making that stays sharp when the plan starts changing fast. It's not just check ride prep, it's building habits and standards that make your cockpit smoother, safer, and more consistent on every leg. If you fly Part 91 or 135 and you want training that translates immediately, check out Advanced Aircrew Academy and see what's coming up next.
All right, let's jump into the emails, Max. First one comes from our boy Peter. He says, the story Max had with the cup holder reminded me of my own cup holder issue. Quickly remind people if they missed it. What was your story with the cup holder? Quickly.
The cup holder insert came out with my coffee, and then I went to put my coffee, and I forgot to put the cup holder back in, so I put my coffee in, it like disappeared down into the belly of the beast, and I had to have maintenance come out and like pull it out with pliers. It's the whole thing.
It was the whole thing, as you can imagine. All right, Peter says, well, so there I was. We were on an overnight in Naples, Florida. I completed the paperwork for the trip, and the other pilot cleaned up the cabin, as was standard for PIC SIC duties in our operation. The next day, he's PIC, I'm SIC. As I go through the cabin, the first thing I notice is that a cup holder is missing. I knew the cup holders were not always securely attached to the side panels of our Lear 45, as I've seen them stick to a cup as we went to remove the cup and throw it away. Well, my first thought was, where is the trash from the day before? We both went inside and spoke to the manager. Luckily, the dumpster truck had not yet come. So dumpster diving we went. Both of us in our typical charter pilot tie epaulet outfit, digging in the dumpster, trying to find the missing cup holder. Fortunately, we did find it. After cleaning ourselves and the cup holder, we reinstalled it and continued on with our daily chores. Seemed funnier to me as I relived it in my head after listening to Max's story. Now it just seems blah. Another day in the life of a charter pilot. Cheers from Peter. Yes, another day in the life of Peter. I have also gone dumpster diving before, and it is accurate. Another day in the life of a charter pilot.
I've never had the pleasure of
That's why we have branded trash bags. We have a monogrammed so that
I may have escaped that in my career. I don't think that that's ever going to happen.
You never know. Well, you were just talking about holding a trash bag over for a lav dump, Max. So I guess
I'd rather go dumpster diving.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to play that game.
Exactly. All right. Great email, Peter. Thank you.
Hey guys, longtime listener, second time writer. Mega meows from the Hoosier State. Still slogging it out at 450 in Citations Part 91. It's a blast as a second career on year 5 after 30 years of IT hell. It's hard to have a bad day when you get the views we get. Just listen to the last pod. Next shirt idea needs to be 6 inches from the tube with a bomber on the back. Keep up the fun and stow those holdover charts for the summer, Mike.
Love it, Mike. Next email says, good morning, fellas. I can't remember when you said both of you started flying professionally. Well, as a side note, some would say we maybe still are not flying very professionally. We are flying, but how professional it is.
Come on.
Just kidding. But I have a question for you, or for perhaps James. I'm curious, given our entry into another Middle East war, what you all think of what the impact of a 9/11 style event would be on the industry today compared to 9/11. There are several structural similarities to 1999 and 2000. For example, in 1999, most major airlines had just signed collective bargaining agreements with huge gains. Beginning in 1999, almost every major airline was hiring over 1,000 pilots a year. United, American, Delta, Continental, Northwest, US Air, TWA, America West all had record-setting hiring years. There were huge differences between today and pre-9/11, too. To compete with the low-cost carriers, many of the majors had started their own low-cost airline within an airline. Song, TED, Metrojet, Delta Express, Cal Light. Of course, all of that competition led to virtually no capacity discipline. There were very few regional jets as of yet. So a lot of the regional flying that couldn't be accomplished by turboprops were being flown by gas-guzzling narrowbodies like the DC-9, 737-200, Fokker 28, and the Fokker 100. So 9/11 occurs, the customers stay home almost immediately out of fear, and by early 2002, most majors had furloughed thousands upon thousands each. A few years later, the Gulf War starts with oil prices spiking and prolonging the pain for airlines and, more importantly, the furloughees. Then, to rub salt on the furloughees' wounds, pilot retirement age was changed from 65 in 2007, just before the 2008 financial crisis. Altogether, this was the lost decade. So here's where my question starts. If the war in Iran were to result in something similar occurring today, given the structural differences in the airline industry, less competition, more fuel-efficient airplanes, capacity discipline, and higher CASM, regional airlines less appealing to whipsaw, what do you, or James, think the result would be for pilots both already at their destination carriers and those trying to get there? Thanks for your insight. And that's from Mike. Well, we did sort of touch on this with James a little bit
I was gonna say, we
in the
talked
previous
about this.
episode. So this email was probably written prior to that episode. But look, we all identified, there's probably, this war is probably increasing the chance of something negative like that happening again. I really hope that's not the case, but you would have to conclude that it's possible. As to the ramifications of what's going to happen, go ahead. I'm still trying to.
Well, it's just, dude, we've seen in history demand can drop off strikingly fast, like fall off a cliff in this business if people are afraid to get on airplanes. COVID, great, dude. I flew an empty airplane on a revenue flight, 0.0 passengers. And it's the same thing, but different. But if people are afraid to fly, the demand will fall off a cliff. And if that happens, airlines cannot fly around empty airplanes for very long. And so then you also can't pay pilots to sit at home very long. And so, things can get real bad real quick. And this business has been like this forever. Once again, we beat this horse so many times, but if you read Hard Landings and look back, I mean, it just seems like things don't ever turn real slowly in the airline business. They seem to things happen quick when it goes bad a lot of times. And we're always at risk at that, though. We're always at risk of that. And it's also one of the many things in this business you cannot control. So, we could spitball it all day long, but, the thing is you have to react when things happen. And so we say a lot of this career is based on timing because a lot of the way it goes is out of your control. So,
I mean, it's going to matter. It doesn't matter if you're a great pilot, if you have a great network, you have all of these different ducks in a row. It really is going to matter where you are on the seniority list.
So I guess his question is, what do you think the result would be for pilots who are already at their destination carriers and those trying to get there? It would depend largely on your seniority.
Yeah. I mean, You're going to
You
find
could be a captain turning into an FO. You can be a captain who just stays a captain, and not much changes if you're really high up on that list. And you could be out on the street, and there's a million different ways you can cut that cookie.
Yeah, seniority
It all
roles.
depends on seniority.
And it is the most frustrating part. I mean, Mike did a really good job of explaining the what a lot of folks call the lost decade of basically just a completely just guys just spinning their wheels, going backwards essentially for 10 years. And then we see, it's all in this, and then all the gains that were made in the last couple of years. And then now it's starting to slow down again, maybe, and then you could go backwards. It's just like, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back always in this business, it feels like. And that's why, we always had the reminder, even when times were great, stay humble out there, because there's so many external factors that affect this job.
The flute is always lurking in the grass.
The bassoon is, the woodwind.
The bankruptcy bassoon could be behind the next tree.
It's just,
who knows?
It is. And it's just one of those jobs where, most jobs have some external factors out of your control. This one especially, there's just so many different things that can really impact your livelihood.
I mean, dude, prolonged $150 a barrel oil, very impactful in this business.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what happens.
It's a good question, Mike. I wish we just did a bunch of talking and did not answer your question. I wish we had more to say.
Well, no, we did. It depends all on your seniority, dude, because the reality of airlines contracting is real. Just is. Yep. Things have been real good for a real long time.
Yep. Absolutely.
They don't
I'm getting a drink as you read this next email. Go ahead.
Hey guys, really love catching up on the back episodes after discovering your podcast a month or so ago. I had already read Roger Reeves' Smuggler and appreciate you guys getting him to dig deeper on the aviation side. There's another interesting story along those lines. Check out the book Sugar Alpha by Melissa Nelson. Her father, Roger, built one of the top skydiving centers in the world, Skydive Chicago. It might have been funded by the same business that Mr. Reeves engaged in. It's fascinating and fun book. And that's from Stuart.
Sugar Alpha is different. Didn't you read one called Snow Pilots or something?
Yeah.
I knew there was another one you had.
No, was it Snow Pilots?
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. The only skydiving experience I had was with you, and I didn't see any illicit materials. Although the Twin Otter we rode up in, I remember, looked like it might have been flown by Roger Reeves a couple times. Didn't look like it.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
It was recently been delivered. All right, that is going to do it for the mailbag. If you would like to jump into the conversation, you know what to do. Shoot us an email, info@215podcast.com, and we'll be happy to discuss your thoughts on the air. All right. Khaleesi, roll the music. It is time for flight advice.
Careers in the climb and the journey ain't straight. From regionals to fractionals, it's never too late. Maybe you burned out, maybe just lost sight. We'll help you level off and set that glide right. We've seen busted check rides, busted hearts too, but it's all pilot life and we've been there, dude. So tune in, drop a line, let's clear the ice. We'll keep it real. Welcome to Flight Advice. Harvey Watt got your back when you're down for the count. Life, health, disability, that's what they're about. From medicals to claims, they'll set you right. Keeping pilots protected day and night. So ride in your story, don't think twice. We got your 6. It's Flight Advice.
All right. Thanks to Harvey Watt for their long time support. Here we go, Max. Flight advice.
Very early show
for you. You have a very early show. Let's get this going. Looking for your guys' input. I currently fly purple tail caravans out of PDX under 135. I have about 2,700 hours total time and almost 1,000 hours PIC turbine time. All single engine. Of course, I took this job for the quality of life aspect, home every night. There is some opportunity to upgrade to the right seat of an ATR out of the same base, but the timing is unknown on when that would be a possibility. There's also a possibility a new aircraft type makes it to the base, perhaps the 408 Sky Courier. But again, no idea when that could happen. I'm 36 years old, married, and have a 14-month-old daughter with hopes of another in the near future. The reasons for the quality of life choice with my current position. The main reason I would look for something else would be the paycheck. For the amount I fly, 2 to 3 days per week, the paycheck is fine. But as you know, having a second child brings more financial requirements. Should I stay where I am at and accept the great quality of life and hope for an upgrade at some point? Or look for something else? Regional carrier seems to be the way into 121 at this time, but the quality of life would stink for potentially a few years. Love the show, and thanks. Additional information. This person is flying between 450 and 475 hours per year. We already said 36, married with 1 kid, and another on the way.
These questions are hard sometimes.
The old question, QOL or money? As usual, so believe it or not, the airplanes that don't fly a ton usually don't pay a ton.
Well, unfortunately, this first bit isn't really going to help you much, but it maybe helps somebody who's younger. And that's why we've talked about this before. Embrace the suck while you were young and have less responsibilities. So then when you're in this gentleman's position, you've already gotten that out of the way, and you can hopefully have, tenure or seniority or whatever it is, wherever you're at, where you've already done the crappy part, and you can enjoy a better quality of life that's afforded by some sort of longevity. So this is exactly, because when you're 36 and you have a young child and another one on the way, like that is a tough time to be starting at an airline you're going to be on the bottom of, especially if you're and magnified substantially if you do not live in base, or you don't even have the opportunity to live in a base. Like maybe, so I don't know. What do you think?
As a person who is currently has multiple children, I can definitely say you're right in your assessment that your expenses are going up. So let's just, drawing from our experience as parents, let's say probably when the new baby shows up, not a good time to go. When you're going from 1 to 2, when they're both that close in age, it's really hard. It's probably the hardest most physically demanding time during parenthood, right? What would you say is the age where you could kind of maybe think about stepping away? Like, would you have a target in mind? Like, look, when the younger kid is 2, when the younger kid's 4, like, what do you?
Here's when I think it gets really hard when your kids start to go to school, like real deal school, Monday through Friday, because all of a sudden the weekends become a big deal. Where right now, when you have kids that aren't in elementary school or whatever, or any school, you can work every weekend. Nobody knows the difference. Every day is the weekend. It doesn't make a difference. The days of the week are less important. So sitting weekend reserve in base is not that bad, because you're managing days away from home is really what the concern is. It's not so much like
that's it.
What day of the week those are. But then when your kids are, you want to be at baseball games and football games, which also happen during the week along with the weekends, that's when it becomes more challenging, I think, because everybody wants the weekend off, because everybody's that's in that position. And that is why. And so with young kids, I think, I mean, I don't know, but what's min days off at a regional carrier now?
Probably 14. Yeah, min, I don't know. I'm guessing you probably can get 14, 13, 14 days off, probably.
I don't know. I mean, things have changed so much with the contracts. I don't remember, but yeah, the thing is, dude, you can't be flying a Caravan forever. Yeah. You just can't. When you're building a family, and you want to provide a good standard of living, that's going to be very tough. And so I think if I were to put myself in your position, knowing what I know now, having teenage kids and also having a 14-month-old daughter, I would find a way to get going, because as they get older and as you get to weekends mean a lot, you want to have some seniority somewhere so you can be home when the days of the week matter. So do the best you can to have as many days of them in a given month home, and then, look to the future as seniority will afford you the ability to adapt.
Yeah. Okay. And this email, I did reread it. It says 14-month-old daughter with hopes for another in the near future. So there isn't a second one on the way yet. So if there's a regional, I think Horizon would probably be the one. If there's a regional where you have a realistic chance of living in base, yeah, I would say go to the regional now.
Yeah.
And try and knock that out before baby number 2 shows up. Get through new hire, get through, in doc that first year, especially if you're home based. I think you could do that. Then baby number 2 shows up, maybe you got some, and then you get family leave and blah, blah, blah. You could start to use some of that kind of stuff. But yeah, you really want to get that seniority building by the time they're, 6, 7, 8 years old, starting to get into school. Of course, you'll have, but I'm just going to warn you, you're going to get to the regional. You're going to get weekends off. Schedule's going to be good. Oh, I can hold captain now, honey. Oh, we could make so much more money. Oh, okay, yeah, bid captain. Yeah, that's a good idea. Then you're going to bid captain. Then you'll be flying captain. Oh, now I'm off reserve. I'm holding a line. Oh, great, I can trip trade. Now I can make to the... Oh, Delta just called. Oh, I got an interview. Oh, okay, well, how long are you going to be gone? 6 months. Oh, okay. Then you're going to... Oh, I got New York, but that's okay because it'll only be 3 more months and then I can hold... This mountain you're climbing never ends if you get on the airline track. That is my warning to you, is every time you get to a comfortable place, there's going to be a new mountain to climb. That's just the way it is. And the carrot will always be more money to do that. And so it is tough, and you can't predict. It would be great if you could predict it with your kids and time. That you'll never be able to do that, like we just said in the previous email. So that's the risk. And honestly, it's one of the main reasons I got out of the airlines, because I had a problem that I could not manage with myself of constantly looking to the future and telling my family, oh, well, it'll be better when I can hold a line. Oh, it'll be better when I can transfer to this base. It'll be better when and so I'm constantly living in the future at this reality that may or may not ever exist. Meanwhile, it was never that good, and I was always chasing something that it was not. It didn't provide me with the life that I wanted to live. And so that's just my experience. But that is the one thing we'll caution you on the airline path.
Yeah, when you get to the end of the road at your final career job, right, and you face that upgrade to captain or whatever, the problem is you've reached almost the top of the hill, but then the climb becomes very slow because that's where everybody sits until they retire. Yeah. And so you've enjoyed this, rapid ascent as a first officer typically, and then you upgrade to captain and it is just slow, dude. And I am sometimes horrified by people that have been here for 20 years to see like what vacation they got and like what schedule. I'm just like, oh, dude. That's why, but because at the end of the day, it becomes, you're trading the quality of your life for money.
Yeah.
And that is it. And in my case, it's, upgrading to captain, round numbers, roughly, obviously if you pick up like a mini or whatever, it's different, but it's $100,000. You're killing your quality of life for $100,000 a year. And that depends, how important that is, depends on how you manage your lifestyle. And maybe you have extraneous sources of income. Maybe your wife works. Maybe your wife has a great job. Like there's things like that factor into this trade-off of this, say $100,000 in this case. Like how much is that worth to you? That's the choice you end up and now I'm a like less than 150 from holding captain. There's no way I'm taking junior captain upgrade and like, anywhere other than where I live. And even then, dude, like, I'm at this juncture.
There's a lot to be said for being the second banana.
Yeah. And it's just, it is hard, but that's at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, how much is this $100,000 worth? Is it worth missing how many baseball games or missing whatever, whatever that is, like, so they're like, it's nice to have ways to take that pressure off. Because if you're the sole income earner and that's it, and you're trying to support multiple kids and a stay-at-home wife and all that, like that $100,000 can be very, very valuable, very life-changing. And you can be in another situation where it's not. And that's you have to, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and you got to live with that choice. Or you could downgrade, I suppose, but I don't know. It's tough.
It is. And in this business, honestly, it really is. I've told multiple people this. We probably talked about this on the show. You can always make more money. Like in aviation, whatever job you're at, there will always be a job where you can make more. And so there's that, if that is the thing that motivates you, it's going to be hard because it can be hard to find comfort in where you're at because there's always going to be a guy, I know a guy across the field, he's getting paid, more to fly this airplane or more to do this or whatever, or this guy's picking up more overtime or whatever. And finding that balance can be really tricky. And for a lot of people working a regular 9-to-5 job, there isn't that sort of, I don't know. It's like those big changes maybe aren't as available, but it's very interesting dynamic. So good luck. So what's our official recommendation, Max? We went back and forth on that one a little bit.
The official recommendation is you're going to have to go do some. You can't fly a Caravan or a Sky Courier or an ATR out of Portland forever if you are already concerned with the paycheck situation. Yeah. You could certainly do that forever, but you're already concerned with the income side of things. So you're going to have to make a move and you're going to have to embrace the suck for a little bit.
And I would do it sooner rather than later. There is never going to be a good time. What did James say in the last episode? Opportunity is never convenient.
Yes, that is exactly what he said.
It really is. Like there's no, like I know we talked about timing it with your kids and you'll never be able to time it perfect. It's never going to work that way. You can try. The best insurance in this business is being on a seniority list, as far up the seniority list as you can be.
Yeah. And sometimes, similar to what we were talking about flying internationally, sometimes you just got to figure it out as you go. So you just got to make a move, kind of send it, and then sometimes flexibility is the key to air power deal. I don't know if you've ever heard that
sometimes,
before.
Just only sometimes. Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for the flight advice segment. Thanks so much to all the listeners that write in, and of course, Harvey Watt for sponsoring the segment. You can visit the website, 215podcast.com, for the anonymous form. You can fill out as much or as little information as you want, and we'll do our best. And I think this flight advice is a prime example of why we ask for the information that we ask for. Because the context makes, if we didn't know that you were 36 and you had 2 or whatever, and we thought you were, 22, it's totally different. So that's why we ask maybe some weird personal questions. Again, you can fill out as much or as little as you want, but that is going to do it for this episode number 209. Max, it's time for you to get to bed. Early show tomorrow. We're going to find out tomorrow if the fisherman's stew agreed with you.
It's always agreeable. Very fresh.
Agreeable. Very fresh. Okay.
It's delicious. I've found the money coffee machine hidden in the crew lounge here on the way to the van. Just all these little...
If anyone happens to be in the terminal tomorrow in San Diego, I want you to look. I still suspect Max took that DoubleTree cookie. I want you to, if there's a DoubleTree cookie, it still comes in the plastic or the paper sleeve, right? If you happen to see one.
I would give you a sample of my blood. You could check my glucose.
A free 21.5 hat to the first person and get us a bounty photo of the
there's no cookie.
The cookie ingestion.
You can call the van driver.
Not while he's driving, though. I was going through our emails since our AI failed and reading so many. We have so many good ones about van drivers. I'm excited to read in future episodes. Are going to be spectacular. Speaking of van drivers, at least you have a very short van
anxiety ride. Talking about all these where to sit in the van and finding the seatbelt and
a strategic seat.
Trying to get a middle seat. It's the only time you ever want a middle seat. I'm trying to stay away from the sides of the van.
You're on the left, Gertrude. Oh, man.
Strap in, honey.
Let's go. Good brace.
Buckle up, Buttercup. We're going to the Hilton.
Wake up wrecked in a Hilton somewhere.
I'm going to get a wreck on the way to the Hilton. That's what I'm afraid of.
That's right. Exactly. Oh, my gosh.
Freaking Detroit in the winter and a blizzard. You're just like, what am I doing? I
Can't go out that way.
You
can't go out like that.
Driving me full. All right, I got to get out of this.
He's got to get out of this. Thanks to all our sponsors.
I'm upset.
Tim Pope, Advanced Air Crew Academy, James O'Neill, Veris Jet Sales, the Air Comp Calculator, Harvey Watt, all of our partners. Thank you so much for your longtime support. Thanks to all of our listeners for all of their contributions. Just remember, if you have more than one child,
flexibility is definitely the key to air power then. We will see you next time.
See ya.
Yeah. Yeah. Touchdown late, DoubleTree on the sign. Max skipped the cookie, said, I'm watching mine. San Diego Harbor with the fish stew flame. Mitch is on the dock, yeah, the crew knows the name. Pilot saving money, man, the stories get strange. SFO crash pad, nah, boat in the rain. Clapped out trawler parts down in Memphis. Jump seat FedEx with the duffels relentless. Now another dude's living that bond disguise. Rib boat ripping where the bay winds rise. Uniform zipped up, commuter life vest. Clip on tie ready, looking article blessed. Juice for the DJ, beets in the FBO. Pilot whites on, making catering flow. Cake throwing legends and AI going wild. Wrecked in the Hilton on repeat for a mile. Then the show got serious, Atlantic in sight. Challenger stretched out, crossing ocean at night. Gander on the ground, CPDLC climb. No oceanic clearance, like the old school time. Filed all the way, but the route felt ghosted. Guess we keep going while the coast got posted. Breast on the radio, accents in the mix. Long day flying through the European fix. Firefly buzzing, got the legs on patrol. Full flight nav log, keeping checks in control. Sitting them in the planner, no packet to print. No facts and apps with a paper stack sprint. Mailbag came through with the cup, hold a crime. Dumpster dive charter in a tie overtime. Then came the question every pilot understands. Quality of life or a bigger paycheck plan. Caravan comfort, but the money feels thin. Family getting bigger, gotta choose where to begin. Seniority's insurance, but the climb don't stop. Every new mountain got a carrot on top. So the advice was honest, don't sleep on the clock. Make your move early if the paywall's locked. But know what you're trading when the upgrade costs more cash in the bank, fewer weekends at ball. It's the frequency. Pilots tune in and vibe. 21.5, where the pros come alive. Checklist, jet view, and stories that fly. It's the cockpit crew. Now let's take it sky high.
The statements made in this show are our own opinions and do not reflect, nor were they under any direction from any of our employers.